So, what does a CEO really do all day? I mean, we all see the headlines, right? The big interviews, the flashy announcements, but what's happening in those moments in between? That's what we're going to do today. We're going to peel back the curtain and really look at the typical and frankly often misunderstood day of a CEO. Let's dive in. Okay, so first things first, let's just clear the air. There's this myth, right? The one with the late starts, the private jets, the fancy lunches, basically exercising power from a leather chair. But the reality? It's a whole different universe. We're talking early mornings, constantly filtering just a fire hose of information, and this crushing constant pressure. It's about shouldering a weight of responsibility that honestly is hard to even wrap your head around. See, the job isn't really about power, it's about pressure. All right, let's start with the morning, and you might be surprised, but the day doesn't kick off with a flurry of activity. It actually starts in quiet. This is what you could call the invisible work. It's that crucial strategic thinking time that happens before the chaos of the day really gets going. And you know what? It's arguably the most important part of their entire day. So what are they really thinking about in that quiet time? I can tell you what it's not. It's not about jumping into emails or mapping out the day's meetings. No, it's about mental positioning. It's all about asking the right fundamental questions before the rest of the world starts demanding answers. And this is where it gets really interesting. That vague idea of thinking can be broken down into three core questions. First, what's the one decision that matters most today? And look, this isn't about a to-do list. It's about finding that one single domino that if you push it, makes everything else either fall into place or just become irrelevant. Then, second, where is the business most fragile right now? This completely flips the script from looking for opportunities to hunting for vulnerabilities. It forces them to find those hidden cracks. And finally, number three, what am I not seeing? This is huge. It's about intellectual humility. It's about actively searching for the blind spots that could literally sink the entire company. You see, when you start asking questions like those, it leads you to this one fundamental truth. A CEO isn't paid to do tasks. They're paid to decide direction. They're not supposed to be the company's most productive employee. They're its chief navigator. Their real value isn't in checking boxes. It's in setting the course, making those tough, critical judgments that everyone else then executes on. Okay, so as we move into the middle of the day, everything shifts. That quiet, internal work from the morning, it gives way to all the external pressures. Welcome to what you might call the trade-off arena. Think about it. A CEO is just flooded with information. Dashboards, emails, Slack messages, it's a constant stream. But here's the thing. They don't read everything. They can't. They have to filter. They're listening for what you could call whispers. You know, those tiny signals, like a slight dip in revenue in one specific region, or a recurring complaint about a new feature that keeps popping up. See, most big problems don't show up with a giant explosion. They start as a quiet little signal, and a CEO's job is to be the first one to hear it. And this is where that pressure we talked about really ramps up. The decisions that actually make it to a CEO's desk, they are almost never the easy ones. They're the problems no one else could solve. And this quote just nails it. A CEO often chooses between two bad options and then owns the outcome publicly. There's often no right answer. It's just a best guess. And then you have to stand in front of everyone and own the results no matter what. Let me give you a classic example. Growth versus stability. Do you pour a ton of money into aggressive growth, trying to capture new markets but risking everything becoming unstable? Or do you focus on stability, strengthening what you've already got, but maybe missing out on a massive opportunity? This isn't some simple choice on a spreadsheet. It's a total high-wire act, because every time you say yes to one, you create a bunch of new problems on the other side. That's the daily balancing act. All right, fast forward to the afternoon, and the focus shifts yet again. Now we're moving away from the spreadsheets and the grand strategies and into the most complex, unpredictable variable of them all. People. And this is what you'd call the true discomfort zone of leadership. Think about these challenges. How do you push your team to do amazing things without completely breaking their morale? How do you genuinely listen to feedback without losing your authority? And maybe the hardest one, how do you correct a star performer's mistake without totally demoralizing them? Yeah, these are not skills you learn in a business school textbook. They are things you have to navigate in real time in really high-stakes conversations. And when it comes to people, the stakes could not be higher. Get this, it just takes one wrong hire at the very top, and it can literally sink the company. That single, terrifying reality is why CEOs spend so much of their time, a totally disproportionate amount, on hiring, developing, and sometimes, yes, removing senior leaders.
So the office starts to empty out, and we get to the final and maybe the heaviest part of the day. And this isn't about working overtime. This is about the psychological weight that comes with ultimate responsibility.
And this quote, it just says it all, doesn't it? You can delegate tasks, you can't delegate accountability. A CEO can hand off pretty much any task in the company, but the one thing they can never, ever delegate is the final accountability. When things go wrong, the buck stops right there, with them. And that creates this unique and pretty intense kind of loneliness.
And the work doesn't just stop when they leave the office. Not at all. The mind keeps going, right? It's replaying the day's events. That big decision I made, was that the right call? That chat with that team lead, did I miss something in what they were saying? That risk everyone told me not to worry about, did I completely underestimate it? It's this constant cognitive load that you just can't switch off at 5 o'clock.
And this right here reveals the mindset of real leadership. When something goes wrong, what's the first instinct for most people? It's to ask, who failed, right? Find someone to blame. But a true CEO's first question isn't pointed outwards, it's pointed inwards. They ask, why didn't I see this sooner? It's a complete shift from blame to ownership. So, if we have to boil this entire day, this entire role, down to its essence, what is the real job of a CEO? It's this: judgment under uncertainty. That's it. It's making the best possible call you can with incomplete information, with incredibly high stakes, and then you just have to live with the consequences. So I'll leave you with this one last thought. Look, anyone can enjoy success. It's easy to take credit when things are going great, but the real measure of leadership, the true test of a CEO, it's what happens when things break. When it all goes wrong, who takes the blame? That's the question that really defines the entire job.